If you don't like the way your solos sound, then write a good one. With laser precision, I'm going to reveal how to create jazz lines and phrases so you can learn to play great solos. I have spent the last 2.5 decades to learn what goes into great jazz lines. You could say that it's a specialty of mine. Other than transcribing your favorite players' solos, which I highly recommend, this is the best way to improve the quickest, especially when you combine those two things. As you will soon learn, composing your own solos will give you immediate feedback and allow you to tweak your ability within days or even hours. And the bonus is you're crafting your own sound, your own voice. Now, how can that not be a good thing? Are you ready? Now, if you start with chord tones, your solos will have a solid foundation on which to build on from there. Chord tones are the 4 strongest notes of a chord. Most of the time, it's the root, 3rd, 5th, and 7th. Real quick, if you see a C7 chord, C is the root, and we build the chord up from that note. You take the 3rd note up, then the 5th note, and then the 7th. If you play all the notes together, it's a C7 chord. If you play all the notes separately, that would be a C7 arpeggio. Start by placing those chord tones on beats 1 and 3. So essentially, you're starting with playing half notes. Any of the 4 tones that make up the chord in that measure is fair game. So I'll show you what I mean. Let's take the first 16 measures of Afternoon in Paris. I'll play a really easy line just using the notes of the chord, okay? Now, if you don't read music, I'm placing just the notes from the chord of the moment in 2 places every time, beats 1 and 3. This will lay the groundwork for everything we will do in this lesson. It will unfold as we go along. This video is sponsored in part by Jazz Mastery Academy, where you can unlock the secrets to jazz, improve your jazz playing through courses, and my supporters over on Patreon. Look at it like this. We start off with a C major 7 chord, so I could choose any of the 4 main notes that make up that chord, C, E, G, and A. Why is there an A and not a B? Well, what I'm doing is what a majority of the jazz masters did, is that I'm thinking C6 chord. So that's where the A is coming from. The A is the 6th above C. The 6th, A in this case, is easier to play jazzy language around it, and you can get a more traditional sound. You can play a major 7, the B's. Sometimes I do it. But because the 7th and the root are sandwiched right beside each other, we don't have any room to play any chromatic language between those two notes. You'll find out soon enough that the chromatic stuff is where the most interesting sounds happen. Since 6 and 7 major chords themselves function the same, they are interchangeable. So I choose the 6th chord nearly every time. I think 6. So let's say I choose a G on beat 1 and then an E on beat 3. When the chord changes to a C minor 7, I could choose G again, or B flat, or even C. But E flat is even better, because the change from major to minor, the third of C major to C minor, E to E flat, really nails that change of color. Plus, it's good voice leading. It's a note that's absolutely the closest to the last note being played a half step, or in guitar speak, 1 fret. Then I chose C for the F7 to keep the line descending. Now, I wanted to change direction, so I went upwards to the D for the B flat major chord. One thing you will learn quickly is that if you want to take the shortest route, there will always be a note up or down next to the note you just played. More than likely, if your inner chord tone melody notes on beats 1 and 3 sounds good and interesting enough on its own, your solo will likely sound better in the end too. So after you've laid out a great foundation of chord tones, you can take that line and edit it to your liking. You can sculpt your chord tones to sound more interesting and create a different shape than maybe what you first played or what you first came up with. This is what I came up with as a sort of round 1 edit. And I say round 1 edit because you're going to keep editing and editing until you're happy with the end result. The next step is to start putting some connective tissue between our strong anchor notes, those chord tones on beats 1 and 3. Now, speaking of chord tones, if you want absolutely master your chord tones, I'm going to share something cool with you at the end so that you will have command over any chord that you'll encounter. So stick around for that. In other words, let's start creating lines. This is a shorter excerpt, but I think you'll get the idea. All right. So you see how I'm creating a line and still connecting the same chord tones that I had in place for now? Now that could change though, and that's totally okay. Remember, it's your solo. If you feel that in later versions you want to target a different chord tone here and there, well, go for it. It's not a problem. If you like something better, then go ahead and change it. We're trying to make it as perfect as we can. But we have to start with something. In the PDF that's available, we're going to cover more ideas and techniques in greater detail on connecting the chord tones. But I wanted to stop for a minute and talk about these notes here specifically. You might be wondering why these notes aren't landing on beats 1 and 3 uniformly like the others. And that's because I built some anticipation into my line. Anticipation is when you arrive early, and in this case, a half a beat early. Anticipations not only sound cool, but it gives your solos overall more forward motion and less heavy sounding than always targeting the strong beats on 1 and 3. It's a part of the jazz language, so don't forget to work this into your playing. It's the upbeats of the anticipations working with the heavier downbeats that make everything sound more light and exciting. If it was all upbeats, there's not enough to make your lines sound grounded. Just like if there was only focus on the heavy beats of 1 and 3, it's too far the other way. These two things should be there to create a push-pull effect. This line is okay, nothing too special. We can make it better though. It's a very long phrase to my ear. I feel it needs some space to let it breathe. And it's not that interesting rhythmically either yet. So we'll have to fix that. So after playing through this several times, here's my next edit. Now, see how it's more distinct, has more distinct phrases? It's going to sound more conversational, like you're telling a story this way. Plus, it sounds more interesting. Let's listen to that one again one more time. It has more interesting note choices, and it has some triplets in there to add a little more something to it, right? My intention here is to give you good, solid information so that you can use this to actually build improvisation skills and grow. So what do you think of this so far? Is this helping you out? Now, this lesson isn't done yet. I'm skipping through a whole bunch of edits here. I wish I would have kept all the edits to show you how the solo got created along the way and by each step, but unfortunately, I didn't have the forethought to keep all of them. I'm going to play the final solo for you, but before I do, if you want to truly master your chord tones, my very first course available at jazzmasteryacademy.com will have you mastering your chord tones in just a few weeks. Head over there and sign up for the Chord Tone Command course. I'm offering 20% off for 1 week after the release of this video. Then after that, it goes back to the regular price. Okay, here's the final solo. also created a PDF lesson that takes you through these steps in more detail and includes the final solo for the whole song that I just played here, written out in standard notation and tab. It's also a workbook that you can use to work out your own solos. You can find the link to it below. I'll see you there.